I'm Tori, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I loved as a child. I've been having a lot of fun kind of going through my shelves and seeing what books I really loved when I was younger and rereading them and seeing how I feel about them now. So, probably the most well-known book on my list is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And of course, my copy has illustrations by Tasha Tudor, who is one of my favorite illustrators. I loved this book so much as a child, and I've never really stopped rereading it. Every couple of years I'll get it out again. It's so much fun. The characters are amazing, and I love how atmospheric it is. It starts out in this dark, stormy atmosphere in this creepy old house, and there's all kinds of rain and lightning, and it's just so perfect and atmospheric for stormy weather. And then by the end of the book, spring has come, and so you go from this stormy weather to this beautiful, lush spring atmosphere with life just bursting out of the ground. And I just love being transported to these beautiful moors and this gorgeous old mansion. It's the perfect book to read if you want to feel better about the world and just happy to be alive. Next, I have another very atmospheric book, and that is Nightbirds on Nantucket by Joan Aiken. This is an incredibly fun, whimsical story about a little girl who wakes up on a whaling boat and finds out that she's been rescued from a shipwreck and she's been asleep for the last 10 months. And you follow her as she kind of adjusts to life on this whaling boat and then goes to the island of Nantucket, and everything is very dark and stormy and mysterious. And it's so much fun to watch Ditto, who is this wonderfully spunky and capable 10 or 11-year-old girl, navigate this very interesting world. This book is part of a series, but I've never read any of the other books in the series because this has always just been the perfect standalone book to me, and I love the world of this so much, and I don't really need anything else from it because this is just the perfect escapist adventure story. I love seeing all of the interesting characters. I love the atmosphere of Nantucket and the whaling boat, and every time I read this book, I wish that I owned a pair of bottle green boots because that just sounds like the most amazing footwear ever. And finally, I have The Wheel on the School by Minder de Jong with illustrations by Maurice Sendak. This is the story of students in a school in a very tiny little fishing village in Holland. There are 6 children in the whole school, and it's this adorable little village. And I remember this book from my childhood as being a very fun adventure about some kids who wanted to put a wheel on their school so that storks would come make a nest. And I just remembered it being a very lighthearted, quaint little story about how simple life was in a small village. And so I was very surprised to reread it as an adult, and this book is an action-packed, terrifying adventure. All these children are running around their village doing anything and everything they can to get a wheel to put on their school roof because they want storks so badly, and they almost die, like a bunch of times in this book. I was amazed by just how life-threatening everyday life was in this little village. People say that, oh, small town life is so boring, nothing ever happens, you have to go to the big city for excitement. But there's plenty of excitement in this little town. I was amazed that all the adults are fine with these kids running around, and they're right on the ocean. The whole village is behind this big dike that's super slippery, and people are always like in danger of like blowing off of it or sliding off of it into the ocean where the tides are super strong. And then there are all these canals running through the village that it's easy to fall into, and none of these children know how to swim. If you're going to let your children run around this village surrounded by all these dangerous bodies of water, at least teach them to swim. It was so terrifying to listen to all the death-defying stunts that these children were pulling, and sometimes it was because they'd run off and the adults didn't really know what they were up to and probably wouldn't approve if they did. But a lot of the time, the adults were the ones giving them instructions and telling them how to easily survive this very life-threatening situation, and you'll be fine, don't worry, we'll get out of this, it's not a problem. And I was amazed by how nonchalant about this I was when I was a little girl and I read this book, and I thought, oh yeah, they're just going on a nice lighthearted adventure, nothing bad's going to happen, this is just good fun. And now it was so terrifying. This was still a very enjoyable book, and I would definitely recommend it. But if you're a parent or someone who's nervous about a child's well-being, maybe don't read it with the child. Maybe just let them read it. And you can go in the other room and read like a nice relaxing crime novel or something less stressful that won't make you have a heart attack. Though I will say that this book definitely made me want to acquire some Dutch clothing. I loved hearing about all their little wooden shoes, and I was just picturing all these cute little outfits. The illustrations are darling. I want like one of those cute little hats now, so I may try to make one of those or something, because Holland was just so vivid in this book. So I had a lot of fun rereading all of these books. I did still enjoy all of them. They were pretty much the way I remembered, though The Wheel on the School definitely felt different from an adult's perspective than a child's perspective, but these were all still very enjoyable books, and I would recommend them to readers of any age.